This episode of Calgary Basement Sessions is sponsored by Cornerstone Music Cafe.
For more information on Cornerstone, visit cornerstonemusic.ca. Well, I can't read.
You can't read.
Welcome to Calgary Basement Sessions. I'm Ben Price.
And I'm Ben Montgomery.
And today we're talking to Jess Knights. I thought it was Night. And I've been writing it. Yeah, I was writing it Night forever and ever.
Oh, dear.
I know.
With a suit of armor.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Not that you're not cool.
Yeah. Well, CGI in like a suit of armor and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Like PixArt or whatever. PixArt? I don't know. Jess Knights is a Calgary soul roots singer-songwriter with a renegade spirit and a luminous voice. Though she spent a decade cutting her teeth in dive bars belting out the blues, her debut full-length record, Best Kind of Light, is mostly rooted in revivalist soul. Funky. Mm-hmm. Recorded with award-winning producer Joshua Van
Tassel.
Oh.
Tassel.
That's a typo,
Tassel.
Ben.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
And the creme de la creme of songsmiths and sidemen, including Donovan Woods, Joey Landreth, R. Grunwald, and others. The album brings into focus the moody, dimly lit spectrum of her classically trained voice, which has drawn comparisons to UK luminaries Amy Winehouse and Eliza Doolittle. Able to traverse sultry ballads and raise the roof off the church soul with ease, this dynamo performer is bound to leave an impression. Welcome, Jess.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Glasses now for you, Ben.
Yeah, for the
Better?
Yeah, perfect.
Excellent.
Perfect. Now you can't see anything.
Yeah, it's true. You're just a big blur.
A big blur.
That's how I feel, too. Just kidding.
You're not wrong. I am. Yeah. It's so early.
Yeah. And thank you for listening to Calgary Basement Sessions, and that's us done. So I was reading your bio, right? I'm not familiar with this phrase, cutting your teeth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that phrase means. What does that mean?
It means like starting out somewhere.
Okay.
Like, yeah. Started out in the dive bar scene of Calgary.
I see. Okay. Of course, I took that literally. You know, I like.
Yeah.
Cut my teeth.
You did?
Like,
What?
I was just like,
You can't tell?
I've never. These false are wrong.
God. What was it the other day that you asked about too?
It was borrowing time.
Yeah, borrowed time.
Borrowed time.
I've never heard that.
I was like, whose time are you borrowing?
Whose is this?
Like, and can they have it back, please?
You can't.
Oh,
You can't.
God.
So
Do they just not use sayings in Scotland?
No,
You talk gibberish all day long.
we have completely different sayings
Yeah.
back home, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm learning every day. I've only been here for a year, you know.
It's a school day.
So cut me a teeth or cut me a break.
Cut me a teeth. Not how it goes. Some sideshow thing, just out there with like plant cutters, chomping them off.
What? I just thought it
Oh,
was that.
God.
That was it. But okay, so that's what it means. Okay, so that explains a lot. That's awesome. So you have an album out that was released in 2018 called Wont Wait. Now tell us about that album. Tell us how you wrote that album.
Well, that album was like an archive of like 10 years of my life. So I started in cover bands and like played with a lot of blues bands around Calgary. And then I moved to New Zealand and I started writing when I was down there. And so I wrote Won't Wait when I lived in New Zealand. And then 10 years later, I decided to record it. And I think I spent so long doing other people's music that when I actually gave myself the opportunity to do my own, it was actually very exciting and very nerve-wracking. So probably why it took me 10 years to get up the nerve to make an EP.
Yeah, well, no, that's fantastic. Yeah, and so you said you spent time in New Zealand.
I did.
Where in New Zealand?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting you bring that up.
Yeah.
I was
Nice
in
segue.
Wellington mostly, but New Zealand is probably one of the easiest countries to travel around. Like you can
Really?
do,
Okay.
oh yeah, because it's quite small. So,
Yeah,
I was based in New Zealand studying, but every weekend I would go to the South Island or top of the North Island. And yeah,
That's awesome.
great
So
place to explore.
where did you study? Sorry. What did you study?
I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in
Nice.
yeah, BFA.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Do you know what the initialism that? Yeah, of course you do.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed, I do.
Do you know?
I don't know.
Of course not.
I don't know anything.
It's a bachelor of fuck all.
Bachelor of fuck all.
Yeah. But we need to change that narrative, okay? I think artists already feel undervalued
Right?
enough.
Especially now.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right? I know.
100%. Yeah. Bachelor of fuck all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Congratulations,
have a
Steve.
minor in museum and heritage studies.
Museum and heritage studies.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So what does that involve? Museum and heritage studies. Like, do
I
you get to
imagine
work?
museums.
You get to work in a museum?
Yes, and I always have.
Wow.
Yeah, so museum and heritage studies is kind of exactly what you would think it would be, but it studies like preservation and ethics and programming and all these different things that you would find in a museum, but maybe would be more behind the scenes.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You know what? I was actually at Calgary Zoo, and
Not a museum.
I know it's not a museum, but
But,
you know,
but
it
that
has
falls into that
yeah,
sector.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. So but it has like, you know, the prehistoric section,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where they're not actual like prehistoric. They're just like,
Oh,
you know,
really?
yeah. They're just like not waxworks, but they're of course they're fake, but there's no skeletons and stuff like
Fiberglass
that.
kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Calgary Zoo was fantastic. Really, really cool. It was my first time I went as well. It was huge.
Yeah.
It's massive. You love it, don't you?
I do. I have a
Yeah.
membership.
I
You
do
know,
too.
Yeah.
It's so worth
Oh,
it.
is,
Yeah.
right? 2 visits pays for itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what we should do?
What?
We should all go to Calgary Zoo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably can't.
Why not?
I'm sure they have like size limits on groups.
You have to book your tickets in advance, and then they leave it up to you to make sure that you're.
So even as even with the membership, like you have
Yeah.
to say, "Hey, I'm coming, but I have a
Timed
membership."
tickets,
'Cause I
yeah.
haven't gone I haven't gone since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Studio Bell's doing that too, and so is the Glenbow. It seems to
Okay.
be the timed tickets is the best way to
Do you
regulate
work in any
things.
museums in Calgary right now?
For many years, I worked at Telespark, the Science Center,
nice.
and
Old
then
one?
new one.
New one.
Yeah. So prior to that, I worked at an art gallery. Then I worked at Telespark, and over the last, I don't even know, 3-4 years, I've worked in management at the National Music Center, Studio Bell.
Wow.
I think you actually had one of my educators on here.
You know the buoy.
I know
the
Cam.
buoy.
Love
Yeah,
him.
everyone
We gotta
knows
stop
Cam.
talking about Cam
I
Bowie
know,
on
oh
this
God,
thing.
You
this is
know,
like
he's
YYC.
just-
He's a nice guy, but God, we talk about him too much.
He's
Sorry,
very
Cam.
talented.
He is,
He is.
yeah. I'm sorry, Cam.
Outrageously so.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Cam. We won't
Not
mention
annoying.
we won't mention your name again, Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cam, we're done talking about you.
Yeah, we're done. We're finished.
This is
Over.
Jess's podcast. So Cam Bowie.
Yeah. Great guy.
Cam Bowie, he cuts his teeth, you know that?
His teeth have been cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's out there. He's doing it.
Yeah.
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 So are you a rugby fan since you've lived in New Zealand for 2 years?
I did go to some All Black games. I do
Nice.
have a tattoo of a fern. So
Nice.
I wouldn't
I'm
say I'm a
sure that's
super
very
fan, but you
rugby.
certainly get immersed in the culture when you live there.
100%.
Yeah.
Someone's got to tell me
Rugby
what the fern
sevens?
leaf means.
Oh, it's
Oh.
the rugby sort of emblem, the All Blacks emblem. It's like
Oh.
the fern. Yeah. Isn't it? That's right, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Tell
it
me
is.
a whole story, and then you're like, right?
Right?
Yeah.
I think
Is
that's
that
right.
right?
Yeah,
We'll
that's
cut this out.
I don't know if you could tell by my extremely muscular build, but I'm very athletic.
Yeah.
Tell.
He just does that all day.
All
Just
Yeah.
with- it's
That
steep-
takes a skill.
Steep tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get up there. Yeah. That's about enough of that for today. Worked up a sweat.
Yeah.
Gotta have a cup of tea.
Look at it with the other hand.
Make sure
Well,
you
you
get a
don't
balance.
want one big arm.
That's true. You don't want
Yeah.
imbalance because then you
Yeah.
start walking like
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to try it with your feet. See if
You gotta
that's-
try with your
yeah.
feet. Good idea. Good idea. I'd love to see that.
I'll start that.
I'd love to see that. But yeah, I was a rugby player back home in Scotland. And
Yeah.
rugby's great.
It is
Scotland.
great. Yeah. My dad was a rugby player too.
Really?
He played against the Lions in Wales.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've made an enemy.
No. no, you haven't. No, I'm intrigued. So
Yeah.
you played against the British Lions
Yeah.
in Wales.
In Wales, he played against the British Lions for some reason.
So what was?
There was
so-
some kind of tournament, and he was representing Canada,
Oh.
Wow.
and he was number 7.
Oh, that was my position as well.
Really?
Yeah, wing forward.
There you go. Yeah.
I thought
yeah.
you were like, oh, number 7 can't. I know.
I know that
I
guy.
thought you were to do, and I was like, there is no way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's Mr. Knights.
Yeah.
Mr. Yeah, you don't know him?
Mr.
know
Knights.
Mr. Knights?
Yeah, Sipping Knights.
First name?
He's gonna listen to this and be like, no, you got the story wrong, and then he'll probably write you an email and be like, this is what actually happened. No, he
hope
won't.
so.
I probably will though.
Mr. Knights, write us an email and tell us what happened. Yeah. Do you know the score of that game?
I believe they were slaughtered by the Lions.
See,
But
that's the thing. Like,
He said the party afterwards was extreme.
Worth it.
yeah,
Yeah.
of
Who
course.
cares
Yeah.
if we lost?
Yeah. There's the British Irish Lions are great. They don't have many Scottish players in the team. It's like a congregation of like English, Welsh, Irish, and Scottish. But you know, they don't really have that many Scottish people. And we had like Gavin. This is back in the day. I can't remember his name. I'm so bad. But we have a few Scottish players, but it's mainly English, Welsh, and Irish because they are unbelievable rugby players.
Well, now you left, and so
I know.
that future is just gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flew away. But I was actually going to join a rugby team.
You should.
when I
Yeah,
came
there's
to
some good
Calgary.
like Calgary rugby clubs around. Like
Yeah.
that Optimus is one of the fields that they play at. and
Optimus.
that's-
Okay.
Yeah.
We've also been out to the rugby union.
Yeah, Calgary
We have
Rugby
a bunch
Union.
of pitches out there.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah.
It's massive. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So let's talk about music.
Tom Jones is Welsh.
Tom Jones. He is Welsh.
I know.
You know what?
Bringing it back to music.
I made Tom Jones's dinner.
Yeah, I know. Every time I mention Tom Jones.
Yeah. It's a weird story. When I was living in Edinburgh, when I was at uni studying Bachelor of Fuck All.
I'm gonna have to bleep so much stuff.
I was working at Nando's. Do you know where do you know Nando's? Yeah, I was working at Nando's.
I don't think she knows where Nando's in Edinburgh is.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
You know
but
the restaurant.
I
you
could
know
Google it.
Nando's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was working at Nando's, and Tom Jones was playing at the Edinburgh Castle, which was about a 5-minute walk away from the restaurant. And
I love that there's a castle 5-minute walk from a Nando's.
I know,
Yeah.
we're so historic. Oh, yeah, there's castles everywhere. I'm sick of castles and bagpipes.
Sick of castles.
That's why I came over here. But yeah, so all his team came down and had dinner in our restaurant, and then they asked for a takeaway for Tom, and I made Tom Jones's dinner. He loves hot spicy chicken
Before a show?
before a show.
Man alive.
He is a nutcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, hot
I
spicy
couldn't do
chicken
that.
before a show.
No.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I hope
not
you made it with love.
unusual to be loved by
God.
anyone.
Yeah, no kidding. He obviously doesn't have acid reflux.
He doesn't.
It's not a
Obviously.
concern.
He you
for
know
him.
this.
I know this.
You're like he doesn't.
Tom,
You're
Tom
right.
Jones,
doesn't
do you
have acid reflux.
confirm?
Yeah,
We're tight.
you and TJ.
Homies.
DJ.
Homies for
DJ.
life.
Yeah.
So let's talk about music. We're kind of gone off on a tangent
You
here.
sure have.
Yeah, we really have. So what was it like working with Joshua on your most recent album?
Josh
Yeah.
has the most sonically interesting mind of any producer I've worked with.
Wow.
He himself is kind of an experimental electronic musician on synthesizers and different things. But he also plays drums for Rose Cousins and Donovan Woods and I think the Great Lake Swimmers. And so he's really tapped into other
talented.
kinds of music. But
Yeah.
well, first of all, he loves old soul music. So it was easy to say like, hey, I really love Donny Hathaway and Sam Cooke. And I kind of want little threads of that throughout. And he's like, yep, got it, check. It was just like such an easy collaborative experience. And like on one of the songs, you'd never know it, but Josh took this big bucket of percussion instruments. And part of the song is him just slamming it on the ground.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's just an absolute pleasure to work with and a really wonderful human. And I couldn't have asked for an easier production cycle.
Yeah.
Like we all got into the studio. Even the studio musicians were like, that was easy. We're all like, something's going to go wrong. Nothing went wrong. It was just like
fantastic.
effortless. And I think it's when you have the right people in the room, things just kind of
100%.
flow.
Yeah, definitely. I know. And is he based out in Calgary?
He's in Toronto. So I
Toronto.
recorded the album in Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you just had sort of did you bring a band over to Toronto or did you just get session musicians?
I
in
got
Toronto?
session musicians over there. My co-writer on the album, Robbie Grunwald, Grunwald, is listen to his music quietly at night. He is an ambient piano player, and all of a sudden you'll find yourself just bawling your eyes out. It's like the most beautiful music ever, but he can play everything, and he actually has like a doctorate in physics or something.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he was a friend of mine, so it was without question I knew that Robbie and Josh would be on the album, so that's keys and drums.
Yeah. Wow.
And then Josh pulled together the rest of the team, some of which I already knew from Donovan Wood's band, having met them prior.
For sure.
And yeah, everybody that came into that room, it just felt good. It was like, oh, we get this.
Yeah.
We're all here for the same purpose.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fantastic when you get like a sort of environment like that where it's just, as you said, it's just easy. Everyone knows their job. Everyone does their job well, and it's just like a sort of just a sigh of relief, and it's just like such a weight off your shoulders. You're like, my God, this is what it's meant to be like when you hire session musicians that, you know, professional guys, and it's just, oh, thank God, right, that was great. Now we can now move on to like the next project, you know, and it's like super quick, you know.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
It also kind of sets a precedent. Like, I wonder if the next time I go in the studio, if it'll be a complete shit show, just because, you know, there has to be a balance, but hopefully not.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what would you say is the message of this album?
I think Russell Bowers from CBC dubbed it like a heartbreak album. And sure, absolutely. There's like an undertone of each song is kind of about ending something and reconciling something. And I think it's quite easy for artists to write sad songs. So, you know, I would say it's a breakup album, but it's also like, for me, it was like about female empowerment and discovery and like coming into this older woman, not older, but like older than I once was, and kind of being able to look back on those days and go like, wow, yeah, you really grew up. And sometimes it takes a little bit of heartbreak to get there. So I think that's the undertone, but I always pull from my environment, probably as many songwriters do.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's really fantastic. Yeah, like everyone goes through like tough times and heartbreak and stuff like that, you know, and you know, it's people that aren't musicians that go through that. They find it tough to sort of express their feelings and stuff. So it's lucky, well, you know, you're kind of lucky that, you know, that you're a musician and you know how to write songs and stuff like that, so you can actually express those feelings on a beautiful album and a beautiful piece of art, you know.
Yeah.
So that's really fantastic. Yeah. Oh, well, why not?
Other people just, you know, do meth.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of musicians may go that route too.
The song didn't work.
Get me some meth.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, fantastic. Great. So you performed on the main stage for Calgary International Blues Fest last year. Was it, when was the International Blues Fest?
It's usually the August long weekend.
August long weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at Shaw Millennium Park, the skate park downtown.
Okay. Yeah. So how was that experience? That must have been unbelievable.
It was really cool. I think I struggle with what genre I fit into, so I kind of apply everywhere. I'm very grateful to Cindy McLeod for accepting my band in. The thing is, I'm not exclusively blues. So what I had to do is kind of prepare a set that was really, really bluesy. In hindsight, I kind of wish that I hadn't have done that I just would have said like, blues is my influence and here are my songs. But I really tailored a set with blues covers even as well. Nice. To be like, no, I fit here. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't want to just fit anywhere. I just want to do my music. So I loved it. It was amazing playing that stage, that audience, the crowd, the love of that festival, the support was wonderful. So grateful to be a part of it. And I struggled with being exclusively blues.
No, it's good, you know, artists that, you know, they just write music and they don't really care of like the genre that you go down, you know, like, you know, artists back in like, you know, 70s and 80s had like albums and every song was like a sort of different genre, you know, like a reggae, then a rock, that sort of thing, you know. So like I'm guessing that's like becoming a wee bit more popular now. I'm seeing.
Yeah, back then they didn't have to submit their music through distributors that are saying, what box do you fit into?
Exactly.
Pop, rock, blues. It's like, no. I don't want, like, even submitting a song to Spotify or the social distributors, like, you have to check off the box. But a lot of us don't want to be in a box.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I think it's a modern day struggle. They wouldn't have had that issue back in the day
100%.
as much.
So, a nice segue. Talking about Spotify.
Yeah.
Have you heard the news about Spotify? About
The CEO?
The CEO.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's great.
So.
What a nice guy.
Yeah. So,
I have all nice things to say about that.
I love that guy. Yeah, so yeah, we've spoken to a few artists about this. You know, like it's artists are between like a rock and a hard place because Spotify is, you know, you're looking to get streams on Spotify because that's what I guess management companies and labels or publishing companies look for is streaming on Spotify or other platforms. You know, but they just don't pay the artists well. I think it's 0.004 cents a play. You know. Something silly like that, you know. And the CEO, I don't actually know his name. I should maybe know his name, but yeah, he's saying that artists should work harder and provide more music to put on his platform so he gets more money. Yeah. So what's your views on that? I'm
Clearly, he's not an artist and not a creator, because it's not just like I'm sitting there like poof, an album. Oh, here's another one. It's like there is a grueling process leading up to that. There is funding concerns for a lot of artists. If you're not Beyonce, you know, you do have to think about your revenue streams, your return of investment. Like normally in the emerging status of artists, you are spending way more than you're making, and the goal is eventually to recover. But it's not feasible as an emerging artist unless you have like a massive inheritance or whatever, like a full-time 6-figure job, whatever.
sure.
It's not a reality, and I think he's really negligent in saying that and not recognizing he's capitalizing on artists but has no compassion or understanding of their experience. Yeah. And it's garbage.
I've listened to a lot of podcasts, like comedian podcasts and stuff, and they have the same problem, you know, where it's their management company, you know, where they have young comedians and they have, for instance, they have a podcast or some sort of online platform, and then management companies come over and say, hey, we'll give you X amount of $1 million for half of your podcast or half of your act or whatever like that, but you have to do this. And they're like, oh, because they're young, and they're like, oh, you know, it'd be great. Yeah, sure. And they sign their life away. They sign their thing, their craft, and it's just, and to me, I would rather not do that, struggle for a bit, but know that everything that I'm creating is my own, and I can do what I want with it, you know, other than like, you know, selling out to a management company, you know. But I guess people have different views, you know. That's just my view.
You know, it's like those people didn't watch Little Women when Joe tries to sell her work and he wants to buy all of it, and she's like, no, I keep my work, and this is the deal we're gonna have. I think one thing I tell a lot of younger artists that ask me for my advice, which sometimes I'm like, okay.
You want
Me? Yeah. Totally. Know your business, because I think when you don't is when you get taken advantage of. And there's no shame in saying, you know, I'm going to pay a lawyer $500 to review the terms of this contract with me, because we might not know all of the rhetoric and language in these types of deals. And we have to do our due diligence so that we don't get taken advantage of and lose all of our creative rights and things like that.
There's an organisation in the UK called Musicians Union, and it's exactly that. When you think it's like a yearly subscription, kind of like Alberta Music, and if you sign up as a band or an artist, and if you get any sort of deal, any sort of contract, they have lawyers in place where you just go right to them, and then lawyers look over it and say, okay, so this is what they're saying, like basically put it in black and white for the artists and stuff. Any questions UK artists have about anything, about touring, about selling records, anything like that, Musicians Union helps them out, you know, and
It's pretty cool.
it's awesome. Yeah, you just like, I think their main office is in London, but you just phone them up. For instance, if you're in Edinburgh, or you know, if you're traveling to New Zealand or something like that, you know, and you're on tour, if you have any problems, you just phone them up and ask them a bunch of questions, and they'll give you expert advice. Yeah,
That's great.
it's fantastic. I'm not sure if there's anything like that in Canada.
Alberta music would be comparable to that. There's also the Canadian Musicians Union. I see a lot more classical musicians under that union, though. There's also a union of musicians here in Calgary.
Right. Okay.
But once you're a union member, you pay union rates, and I don't know.
You're also hindered in some of the work you can take too, because it has to go through the union.
Yeah.
I know I've not worked a lot with musicians unions, but Actors Equity I worked a lot with, and a lot of like there's so much paperwork to go through. So these actors who are equity members can do smaller scale projects that, you know, there's more work like that than there is, you know, for Theatre Calgary or Mirvish Theatre in Toronto. So
Yeah.
Good and bad. I mean, obviously, in this case, that's a helpful thing to have, but it can be a hindrance.
And it does allow for some protection too, which is
Yeah.
nice. I used to be part of I might still be part of the ACTRA union.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a
haven't paid them in a
child
while, but-
actress.
Oh,
Yeah.
what were you in?
Oh, I was in like commercials and a couple of made-for-TV CBC movies and Honey, I Shrunk the
Wow.
Kids TV show. And yeah, I'm pretty famous. So.
I don't know if you know who you have here.
We'll get your autograph after the podcast.
Yeah.
You probably recognize me from the Spoutex commercial.
I do.
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, we have
Awesome.
we have an actor in our household as well, don't we?
Who?
Dash,
Oh,
our
Right.
dog.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, it's not our dog. It's Shelby's dog.
Shelby's dog.
Shelby's dog Dash is an actor. Yes.
wow.
Very good
he's,
actor.
He's in Fargo.
Has he
He's
joined the
far-
union
TV,
yet?
TV. No,
Oh,
No.
yeah.
he's retired. He's 12 now,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's retired.
Yeah. He's not. He just wants to sleep now.
Yeah.
You know.
I
There's-
want to act. He said that.
He's
He
worked
said
hard.
that to us.
yeah. He wants to retire. But no, he was in Fargo. He was in Lux
Lux Windows.
Windows
commercial?
commercial.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's actually still on TV.
It does run.
Wow.
Yeah.
Famous.
Yeah. So he's a famous dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's still cleaning up those royalties and, you know.
I think like 10 cents a year at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
Whoa.
that. You know?
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
Yeah. One
Pretty cool.
turkey neck a year.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
turkey neck. a year.
I wish those were 10 cents.
Yeah.
Expensive for dogs.
No kidding.
Oh man. So you're the winner of best musical act winner of Best of Calgary 2020.
Yeah.
That was in February, or was that?
I think voting was in February.
Oh, okay. Voting was in February,
Yeah.
but you actually won it a few months later. Is
Yeah.
that right.
So they had to tally the votes, and I think
She won it
everything.
when they voted, and then
Yeah.
they told her a few months later.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah. So
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So
Yeah, thank you.
Did they give you like a prize, or what would you get for that?
I don't really know yet.
Oh, they haven't given you it
It
Still
was
yet.
kind of
happening.
like, here's this thing, and it was like, cool. Now what? But I think it's just maybe a really wonderful acknowledgement from the community that supports me, and I support them, hopefully. And
100%.
yeah, I don't. It was a surprise to me that I was nominated. So that was initially very cool.
Yeah.
Best of Calgary actually started from Fast Forward magazine. Do you remember that back in the day?
No.
So Calgary had this amazing magazine, Fast Forward, and it actually went under and became digital and then morphed into something else. And they used to do the best Calgary, best neighborhood, best pub, things like that. So it kind of carried on from that legacy. But I hadn't really known that it was still in effect all that much. I guess I knew a little bit because I worked at museums that always wanted to be nominated for like best family outing or
Right.
Yeah.
but yeah, neat. I'll let you know what happens
They
after.
haven't thought that far ahead yet.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if I'm
one,
supposed to get a like tattoo that's like, like I don't know.
Best of Calgary 2020. You just make the list as we go down.
Yeah.
It's like a Stanley Cup. A new ring every year.
Yeah,
It's got a
yeah,
massive
exactly.
like sleeve. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so successful.
Yeah.
Did you see this? So.
Paid for those myself.
I've made it. And
We should probably wrap up.
yeah,
That's like 32 minutes.
62 minutes.
I know.
One more question.
So much to talk
I
about.
know, sorry. Top 5 albums of 2018. Won't Wait listed as one of the top albums of 2018 by Mike Bell of YYC.
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Mike's such a wonderful supporter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Why
Thank you.
YYC? I've heard of that. Benton's heard of that.
As
as
have
well.
I, but I couldn't find. When I read that, I searched it up. I couldn't find it.
It's
Is it
the YY scene.
That's probably why.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mike Bell used to be the main entertainment writer for the Calgary Herald. Passed that down to Eric Volmers. Both just keep a really strong pulse on what's going on in the community. And yeah, Mike, I had an interview with him for this last album, and he just, I don't know, he really likes what I'm doing, which is very validating.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think he's the kind of guy that if you didn't like it, you'd know. And so it's extra.
It's
Yeah.
good to be on the good
Yeah,
side.
exactly.
This is garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks.
It makes you feel better when you know someone will tell you if you're crap.
Yeah.
When they say, you know what, really good. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It means a lot more.
Yeah, it does.
It definitely
Absolutely,
does. It
yeah.
means a lot more.
If they'll be harsh with me, then I know this means
Yeah.
they're being truthful.
And your mum is pretty harsh with you.
My
yeah.
mom is terribly harsh with me.
So is mine.
Terribly harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get calls to this day saying, you know what I don't like about this song that you released on this album that you spent $20,000 on that you can't go back and change? Let me tell you what I don't like. And it's
Here's
like,
a list.
okay.
Do you have time now
Thank
for a
you.
FaceTime?
Yeah.
Oh,
Call me
FaceTime.
back.
I'd like
You
to
don't.
review this with you. She's very supportive as well, but she's also like,
100%, but
Yeah.
never anything is good enough.
no,
Yeah.
no.
No.
And, I think she wants me to strive for perfection. And
Exactly.
Mom,
Yeah.
Mike Bell said
I
I
was
good.
good. Okay.
I don't want your damn notes.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mrs. Knights has good notes.
Yes.
I'm sure she does too.
Yeah.
But I never
She's not
listened.
musical though, so it's
Oh, well.
like in a sense, wonderful dancer. She's
Oh, okay.
yeah, but like
Okay.
I'm like, okay, mommy,
Yeah.
what's the semitone?
I don't know, but I know in this song you were a little flat. Done. Click.
And then do you critique her on her like dancing? You go, Mum, your foot was flat there.
No, but we have our rapport.
Not a great jeté, mother.
Yeah.
Not a great
Couldn't.
jeté.
What's a
improve.
jeté?
A jump.
Oh, okay. Jeté?
Ben will show you later.
Okay.
Pot of beret.
Oh,
Oh,
you've been
yeah.
watching Black Swan.
Soup de, no, I used to stage manage for ballet.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ah,
Pas de chat.
I didn't know that either.
There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Where can we find you online?
I have a website, jessknights.com. I'm Jess Knights Music on Facebook and Instagram. Jess Knights 1 on Twitter. Although
Twitter always gets you. There's always the one.
Jess-
You know, I
Nice one.
started an account when Twitter first started up, and I was really slow to get it, and so I got rid of my account. And then when I came back to get it, they're like, Jess Knights is taken. I'm like, by who?
Oh,
Who is this?
That's my name.
I'll tell you who it is. We googled your name.
I know, an artist in the UK.
You're
designer?
You're apparently Jessie Knights is a British indoor athlete. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me also.
But
Yeah.
Jess
So
Knights artist has the Twitter thing.
I guess so. I don't even know, to be
Nasty.
honest. But
I hate them already.
yeah, I'm not great at Twitter.
Yeah.
My publicist was like, "You got to get it," so I got
Weird,
it,
yeah.
and now
And
it's like,
not a lot of people use Twitter.
Yeah.
I guess some people do. I find there's a lot of noise on Twitter, and I try to reduce the amount of noise I
Yes.
take in because it's quite
I agree.
toxic sometimes.
For sure.
But
For sure. Yeah. Wise decision.
yeah, right.
Wise.
Should we hear some tunes?
We shall. Yes, let's hear some tunes. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank
Yes.
you for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching that full episode of YYC Basement Sessions. We hope you're enjoying all the music.
Yes, please follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that bell to get notifications from us.